Hey guys, Mike Fix here. So today we have this. It's a Homelite 3500 watt generator. And if you remember from the previous video, this one up here, then you'll know a little bit about this generator. And if you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you stop this one, watch that one, and then come back to this one. Two reasons for that. One, I'll get 2 views. And 2, you'll get more context about this little generator here. Now, quick summary of what happened before. We pulled this engine apart because we had no compression. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't a major problem in the engine, which it really wasn't. It was a stuck valve. That was an easy fix. But if you also remember, there was a little bit of damage to the cylinder wall, likely from sitting with a little bit of water in. And on top of all that, I reused the head gasket, which you shouldn't do. Plus, it didn't have a carburetor. Now, as for the head gasket, I picked up this, a gasket set for this. It includes the intake gasket and head gasket, as well as the sump gasket and the valve cover gasket. So I'll be able to replace the head gasket on this. Part number for this head gasket set, it didn't have a carburetor. So I picked one up. Wow, who am I kidding? I didn't just pick one up. I ended up getting 2, believe it or not. Kind of crazy, but yeah, I've got 2 carburetors for this and they basically look identical. So we'll see which one works. And well, if one works before we try the other one, then we'll just leave the other one as a spare. But I want to see if this thing will run first before I replace the head gasket. And I also got to redo the valves because I set them wrong. When I read it, I misread it. I thought it was 1/1000 of an inch, but it was actually just 0.1 millimeter, which is 1/4 of an inch. But anyway, let's get a carburetor on this, run some fuel into it, and see if it runs and continues to run. Then we'll pull the head, reset the valves, change the head gasket, and see if this will continue to run. Now that will be interesting. Anyway, stay tuned because this is going to be hopefully an interesting video. I think so anyway. All right, guys, let's crack into it. Okay, so I got to get the pull recoil put back on. I'd taken it off for testing on another engine, but I don't think it worked out. I can't remember what engine I was testing it on. If my memory serves correct, it didn't work out, it didn't fit. I just never put it back on. Oh yeah, still hard to pull. So it's still got compression. So let's get the carburetor on. Not sure exactly where the air box went at the moment. I put it somewhere and it was ages ago at this point. And I can't remember exactly where I had put it. So as soon as I find it, then we'll get it put on. But for now, we're just going to be testing anyway. Figure let's get the carburetor on, see if it's going to run that way. Okay, so these are 10 mil. This is actually a stiffener brace. As interesting as that is. Goes on the inside of the air cleaner box. Okay, so we put it in. Oh, let's get the governor control arm in. So the Z-bend goes in. And then in that little hole there, that's where we'll put the spring. If my fingers weren't so clumsy. Come on, get in the hole. There you go. Right. Okay, and then we slide that on. Good governor control action. Then we'll put the stiffener brace. We'll toss on the nuts. And I'll just give them a little shot down just to hold them in place. 1. There we go. So now I'll get an external fuel tank. That shouldn't be hard. Here we go. 1 external fuel tank. Came off a Tecumseh lawnmower. Put the fuel line on. I don't know if I should put a inline fuel filter. Nah, not right now. And I'll just use a pinch. I gotta cut the end off. As soon as I said that, I noticed it was full of garbage. So let me try that again. Yeah, let's get the fuel line on. There we go. Right. Let's get the spark plug on. Maybe. Spark plug's on. All right, let's see. Am I going to be able to pull it over? Yeah, no problem. I'll be able to pull it over. Machine is off still. So let me put some fuel in. I'm just going to open up the garage door the rest of the way. It's fully open. There we go. Garage door is now fully open. We're only going to be running it for a couple minutes at most. Okay, let's put the fuel in. I'm going to tilt it on its side. That way it doesn't start going into the carb until I want it to. There we go. That should be enough for now. Okay, let's start this process. Okay, carb's filling. Okay. Choke is on. Machine's now on. I guess we should see if it'll generate power as well. Pretty sure it generates power. If I remember correctly, it used to. But in case, I've got my palm polisher here. Plugged it in. And we'll try it out once with the engine's running. I think it hiccuped a little bit there. Okay, it's running. Seems to be running a little fast though. I'll have to adjust it after. Is it producing power? That's the question. It's producing power. That's awesome. That little carburetor is going to actually run it, no problem. When I get the air box, then I can start adjusting everything because right now it's running a little lean. And when I get the air box on there with the filter, it'll start running a little more rich because the airflow will be more restricted. And then I can properly adjust it so we get the proper settings for this engine and generator. But it looks like everything is working exactly as it should be. This little Jenny's come to life, and yeah, she does burn a little bit of oil. But that is to be expected. That is to be expected. Now, we also do have to change the head gasket, so that could also be quite the large culprit. But if you haven't seen the first video, and you still haven't gone back to see that first video, this one, I'll tag it one more time up here, then you'll see in a few minutes after I get the head off why we have an issue and what that issue is of why it's likely burning oil. Anyway, let's start pulling this apart, and I'm really, really excited and happy that that carburetor runs this engine no problem. Fantastic news. All right, let's get started. All right, so let's get started. Take off the spark plug. Now we'll take off the valve cover. 10 mil. Valve cover's off. Right, so next we got to get these head bolts off, and I believe those are 12 mil. Actually, I'm going to remove this air diverter box, and that's a 10 mil. Put that bolt back. Okay, I'll get a 12 mil, and I believe that's 12 mil. Yep, they're 12 mil. Okay, so 13/16 to take out the spark plug. Okay, so the spark plug is an NGK BPR 5ES. So put that 10 mil back on, and we'll take off this carburetor. One nut, two nuts. Stiffener brace, carburetor. Hey, look at that, guys. Look what I found. A red subscribe button. If you made it this far into the video, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up. Comment below. I love to read your comments, and I try to reply to as many of them as I can, especially the early ones. All right, guys, back to the video. Slip off that Z-bend and the spring. Just going to move the carburetor out of the way because it does have gasoline still in it. Now, pull off the gasket and spacer. Come on, spacer. Yeah, that gasket could stay there. Okay, so 12 mil. Let's crack those head bolts loose. Now to zip them out. As you can see, there's 2 short ones and 2 long ones. The 2 long ones go in the valve cover. The 2 short ones go above. So now that the head is free, I know it's still attached to the exhaust. I just got to take off one bolt here. That's or 2 bolts here. That's holding the exhaust on. And then we can remove the head. I know, why don't I just remove the exhaust? Because it's 10 mil and I need to get a wrench for it. That's mostly why. I think I'm going to have to either way, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I'm got it. There. Oops. The rods. The push rods. Thought I'd be able to pull it away without them popping out, but they popped out. So I'm going to give them a cleaning. There we go. There's the angry robot head again. There's the valves. We'll adjust the valve lash after we put it back on. I'll move it off to the side. Let's get this head gasket off. As you can see, a lot of the coating is gone from it. Good, the dowels are still in. Actually, it looks really good. It looks really good. Even this damage down here, I don't actually feel anything per se. Let me just wipe it out with a shop towel. Piston looks good from last time when we cleaned it all. Cylinder head still looks good from when I cleaned it and prepared it when I had taken it apart in the last video. So there's not much really left to do. Just kind of scrape this off and I guess get the other head gasket on. Put the head back on. Reset the valve lash. And that's it. Okay, let me get the new head gasket. Okay, 1 head gasket coming up. You just wipe it off. Okay, there we go. Now to get the head back on. Then when we do the valves, there we go. Now I'm going to hold it on using the 10 mil bolts holding on the exhaust to the frame. I'm going to get the push rods back in. So I'll start with the intake. And then we'll move on to the exhaust. We'll set the valves in a sec. Let's get those head bolts in. So the 2 long ones in the bottom. And the 2 short ones in the top. Now we're going to go in a star pattern, starting with this one beside the intake. Just going to run them down by hand till they're seated. Then I'm going to torque it down to about, I think, 14 foot-pounds. I think that's what it calls for. All right, so I've got my torque wrench set. But first things first is I need to run them in until the head's seated. Then we'll torque it down. So let's do that. All right, let's torque it down. Have it set to 14 foot-pounds. There we go. That's 1, 2, 3. And there's 4. I'll just check them again. Perfect. Right. Tighten down the exhaust on the frame. Now we're going to set the valve lash. So I'm going to turn it over until one of the valves opens. Oops. There. Now we should be able to set this valve, which as you can see is way out. So we're going to set it down to, I'm going to tighten it down at 6 thousandths, then snug it, and it should be around, I think, 4 when it's all said and done, I hope. That's my goal. Let's see how well that works. Okay, so here's 6 thou. Hopefully this works. Kind of cool if it does. Okay, so it's tight on there. And this being 10 mil, we'll snug it up. There. Now I will see if 4 thou will fit. If not, this should get me pretty darn close, I think. Nope, not quite. So now I'll just loosen this guy off a bit. This should be a lot better. Nope, now a bit more. Not yet, it's close. Four thou, 5, with some drag. Good. Okay, so we'll hold this here, and we'll snug this. Okay. So let's see again. Does 4 thou fit? Yep, 4 thou fits very nice. Perfect. All right. Now what about 5 thou? 5 thou fits. 6? No. No, 6 thou doesn't fit. Perfect. That's perfect. All right. So let's roll the engine over until that one opens. That was the decompression bump. There we go. Now we'll tighten this one down again to around 6 thou like I did last time, because that got us pretty close right away. Right, so snug this up a bit. Pull out the 6 thou. Now I know I'm going to have to take some off, which is fine. So I'm going to check. Nope, 4 thou doesn't fit. Nope, still doesn't fit. Fits now, but it's a little tight. That's a lot better. Does 5 thou fit? It fits with quite a bit of drag. So 6 thou, 6 thou doesn't fit. Isn't that great? My feeler gauges. The nut came off. Isn't that awesome? I wasn't expecting that to happen. Right, so we'll snug this up. Now let's make sure that 4 thou still fits. It's a little tight. I'm going to try moving some just a bit. Still a little tight. Okay, now does 5 thou fit? It fits, but barely. And 6 thou? Not at all. Good. That's what we wanted to see. Now it's between 4 and 6. All right, so we'll turn it. Excellent. All right, let's close this up. Now, I'm sure there's lots of stuff I've already done wrong. Don't forget to mention them in the comments below. I love to read about what I did wrong. This way I don't do it again. Or maybe I will do it again. Who knows? But if you see that I did something wrong, do mention it below. And I'll do my best to address it. Because I don't want to be doing things wrong. I want to be doing them correct. Just hopefully your way that you're telling me isn't the wrong way and that you're doing it wrong. Make sure that it is the right way. All right, that's on. Now let's get that spark plug back in. I don't want to jinx it, guys, but this is actually going as one of the smoothest rebuilds, I guess, or well, smoothest videos in a very long time. I'm very happy for that. I'm kind of glad I got it working in the last one. Okay, spark plug's on. Spark plug's ready. I haven't drained the carburetor because I didn't really want to. So, carburetor's going on. That Z-bend on first. Z-bend. Oh, right. I also need to get that spring on. There, spring's on. Oh, come on, Bruce. He's the Springsteen. Oh, right. I need the spacer. Oof, almost lost it, guys. Couldn't figure out what I did with the gasket and spacer. Blended in with the table. Gasket. Carburetor. I did it again. Forgot to put the Z-bend in. Spring. Good. Okay. Carburetor's on. Excellent. Excellent. Now I'm going to put the stiffener plate. Get those nuts on. And I think we're ready to give her a test. Woohoo. And then after this, I need to find that air box. I don't know what I did with that air box for the life of me. It's actually weird. Right, that's on. We'll get the temporary fueling system attached. Now this is just to get it started. When we actually do the real testing, that goes outside. A short test, no problem. I'll do it in my garage with the door open, but otherwise that's got to be outside, especially with this one. This one kind of burns oil. Right, now let's attach this fuel line clip. That's on. This is actually going really well. Thank goodness for that. I'm going to open the garage. Okay. Well, we're all set. Ready to go. I just need to get into the better position. I guess it's still full because it's not taking any fuel. Choke is on. Machine is on. Right. Right on. Right on. Significantly less smoke this time. Like, way less smoke this time. That's awesome. That's awesome news. I'm not saying it's not smoky, but it's a lot less smoke than last time. And no, I didn't break any kind of cardinal sin of not checking the oil before starting it. As you can see, this engine has lots of oil. Although, it looks like there was a lot of crap in it. and it might want a second oil change to flush out the garbage that's in there. Yeah, I guess we could oblige that. All right, let's get this thing outside and do some good tests on it. See how it handles. So I've got the air box. I'm just going to oil the filter and we'll put it in. All right, there's the filter. Then just using a shop towel to squeeze out the excess. Shouldn't be much of it though. All right, we'll loosen off these two 10mm nuts. Take off the stiffener brace. I feel like there should be a gasket behind this, but there isn't one. It's weird. I wonder what's up with this little hole here. You see that? Right there. That little hole. That's really strange that that hole is there. Very bizarre. Let's tighten this down. Okay. Seems pretty tight on there. Very strange design. Put the air filter in. I just struck these down a little bit. Okay. Choke is on. Machine is on. Spark plug's on. All right, let's fire it up. The choke's not closing all the way. That's interesting. Let me take a look at the choke flap inside. Let's take this off. Maybe loosen that filter housing off a bit. It looks like it's sitting at an angle. Oh, I had the choke off. That was the problem. Silly me. I guess I should have read the directions on the front. Duh. Look, I had the choke that way. That's run. All right, now the choke is on. Let me get these back in. Let's try that again. Choke is on. Machine is on. All right, it's running. I gotta find some way to secure this. So give me 1 sec. I'm gonna shut it down and secure it. All right, that's now secure. Switch is on. Let's try it without the choke. Might run without it. Let's try. Nope. Sounds like it has a little bit of a miss. Yeah, it almost sounds like it has a little bit of a miss there. Maybe it requires a little bit further investigation. Okay, so I have a couple items so that we can test the load of this thing, see how well it can handle a load. One, I've got a space heater and I've got a hair dryer. So I figure, what the heck? Let's see. And we can also see what the voltage is that it's running at. Although it does have a nice display, but I want to put it to hertz so that I can see what the engine's running at. And then I can also show the display of what the voltage running at. Anyway, I guess let's get this thing started. Okay, machine is on. Choke is on. Starts really easy. Okay, so 124 volts, 123 volts. Not sure if you guys can see that. I can't see that. This is 61.8 hertz. That's not bad. I gotta move the camera back. It's causing distortion. I'll have to try to enhance this. Alright, let's put a bit of a load on it. Let's turn on the snake heater. That's about 1500 watts. Alright, it's got a load on. Still putting out 123 volts. 61.2 hertz. Alright, let's try the hair dryer. Feel heat coming out of that. There we go. That's full load. That's about 3,400 watts. This thing's doing it. And I think it just tripped the breaker. Not surprising. Okay, so right now it's under 1,500 watts. Low heat. Full heat. No problem. But it's going to trip out at the GFI on the plug. I'm wondering if this machine has an AVR. I'm thinking so, because this voltage hasn't budged. It's been spot on 124 volts. No change. I wish I had a way to check THD or total harmonic distortion, but I don't have that equipment right now. Alright, I'm gonna let this run for a minute. Okay, I'm not gonna let it run for a minute because it ran out of gas. So let me quickly fill that up. Right, that's all that's in that jug. Filled up, good enough for I guess for an idle test, see how long it can run at a load. I guess under full load, I'll let it run for, see about letting it run for about 5-10 minutes under full load. It does run really smooth though, and it is very easy to start. So let me start it over. So choke is off, no need for it, it's pretty warm now. Oh yeah, okay, machine's on. All right, choke is on. Hopefully the fuel in there lasts that long. Low heat. Full heat. about 3,400 watts. Sorry, about 3,300. There we go, full load. That's about 3,400 watts. Okay, I'm going to start taking some load off, starting with the hair dryer. And that's it, she's out of fuel. Let's make sure. Beautiful. Beautiful. Looks like I took the fuel away a little bit too early, but that's okay. That was fantastic. So how about that, eh, guys? That worked really, really well. Considering if we go back to the first video and we look at the piston, which looked like this, and then we consider now in this video how well this engine runs. This is a fantastic little unit. I like having the external fuel tank for this. It allows me to have a much bigger one if I wanted to, because this little generator is perfect for what I'd use it for. And because I know of its high likelihood that it's an oil burner, although I really didn't see much oil blowing out, like I really didn't see much in the way of smoke other than I'm burning 2-stroke fuel in it. This thing ran great. It produced the right amount of wattage for what it's supposed to be rated for. In fact, I think it produced more than what it's actually rated for, and that's awesome. Great little unit. I like it. I think it's a Honeywell GCA 30 or GC 35. It's a 3,500 watt or 3,000 watt generator, and it was easily handling at least 3,300 watts with no difficulty whatsoever until it ran out of fuel. But anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. It's not bad. That was actually my first head gasket. That went really well. Brand new carburetor, worked fantastic. Just got to fix that air box. I got to take it apart and put the bolt back through it from the back. While I was reviewing the footage, I couldn't help but notice That right there, yeah. It lines up perfect with that bolt. I was like, oh, so that's why it's on a funny angle. Go figure. Also, I gotta get that tube. I believe I've got it actually. It's in my car and my car is locked. I don't feel like going in there. So, all right, hold on a second. Let's see if it fits. Okay, so if it fits in this side, it does, then likely it'll fit in that side. We'll cut it around there. Okay. This is going to be tough one-handed. I'm not used to doing things one-handed. Come on, get in there. There we go. Come on, get in the hole. You know you want to be in there. Maybe it doesn't. That's why it doesn't want to go in. Okay. That's fixed. That hose worked out well. Right. Okay, so choke is off. And spark plug is, well, it's on. And now it's